Hello, welcome to week 3 of the podcast. And today I'm going to start with sharing stories. So, this is how the podcast will go. Last week I did the sleep pressure and circadian rhythm piece, which is really important. So, I would recommend going back and listening to episode 2 because that gives you a kind of overview of how sleep physiology works, which is always really, really helpful. So, for the purpose of today, obviously, I will keep people completely anonymized. But I'm just going to give you stories and things that I am kind of helping people to achieve through sleep coaching every single day of the week. So, I work one to one with clients every day, and that's of all ages. So, children right up to adults. I don't work with babies, so not under 12 months, but anybody over that age, I will support with sleep. So today, let's call this lady Annie. Okay, so Annie is in her 40s, got a very, very good job, very busy job, and is also a mum. So she's got 2 kids at home and a husband as well. She came to me struggling to fall asleep, first of all, and also struggling to stay asleep through the night. And what this ended up looking like is she would spend a long time trying to go to sleep, trying to shut down her brain, very busy brain, very busy life, all of this stuff kind of whirling around in her brain. And she was finding it really difficult to switch off, and then eventually would fall asleep. So this could take up to a couple of hours of laying in bed trying. There would be some picking up a phone and scrolling a phone just to kind of fill the time, which is a lot of people do. And everybody who comes to me, they'll say, I know I shouldn't do it, but, and for me, this is never about what you shouldn't be doing. It's about understanding how to make this feel easier, right? So how can we make sleep feel easier for you so that you can then achieve the things that you want to achieve when it comes to sleep? Sleep isn't a doing thing, actually. It's something that happens to us. Fundamentally, it is actually a biological process. Anyway, I digress. So finding it really hard to fall asleep in the first instance, and this led to bedtimes that were kind of all over the place, and then also waking up in the night. And when she was waking up in the night, straight away she would check what time it was and then kind of get stressed about the fact that she hadn't had enough sleep, would be really stressed about the fact that she couldn't then fall back to sleep very easily, then kind of would continue to check the time and adjust her alarm clock, right? So the alarm was set. She wanted to start the day at 6 a.m., would go to bed at 10, thinking that's going to give me 8 hours, probably fall asleep around 12:30, and then would extend out her alarm. So kind of put back the things that she wanted to achieve in the morning, and get it back to just basics, right? Because she didn't start work until around 9 o'clock and worked from home the majority of the time. So she could push it, she could push it to about 7:30ish in order to be able to get her children to school also. But her husband did help with that. So what did we talk about? Okay, so the difficulties that we had here were with, first of all, falling to sleep, or how it appeared on the surface, falling to sleep, remaining asleep, and then creating this inconsistent wake up time in the morning. So where did we start? What did I start with? So, I talk a lot about what's happening day to day. So life was very busy, a never ending to-do list. This is really common of the things that I hear from people. The kind of blurred work home balance was in play here as well. So although would finish work at 6 o'clock, would then go back to work often after she put the children to bed in the evening. And then that could take however long that would take. And when she was putting the children to bed as well, her brain wasn't completely on them, right? She's thinking about what she needs to be doing, which again creates stress in itself. So where did we start? So for me, if you go back to last week's podcast, sleep pressure is really crucial when we're looking at sleep timings, right? And the way to start to create some consistency around sleep pressure is to fix in a morning wake up time every morning, right? So we wake up at the same time every day. Now, what did I say to this lady? So her ideal was that she wanted to be awake for 6. So that's the goal, right? That's the goal. But in the future, because it wasn't happening, she was adjusting the alarm every day. So we spoke about, okay, so that's where you want to get to. How about if we start with an alarm at 6:45? So you can do one of those things that you want to do in the morning, like sit down and have a really nice, relaxed kind of coffee in the morning. She wanted to do lots of other things as well, but we decided that this would be a really good starting point because it would feel like a win, right? So waking up at the same time every day around 6:45. Well, at 6:45. Now, she did like to snooze the alarm clock, as lots and lots of people do. So there was 2 options that she could go away and try. So she could set her alarm every 2 to 3 minutes. It becomes really annoying when it goes off that frequently. So then you're more inclined to wake up the first time and get up the first time, or to try an alarm away from the bed. So she would have to get up to go and turn the alarm off, which then kind of will get her going. So I said to her, go away, try both of those things and see which one works for you. And for her, it was setting the alarm away from the bed. We then spoke about some movement in the morning. So getting outside in the morning and just having a little bit of movement in natural daylight. Now, this was in the summer, so it was light at kind of 6:45. And she didn't have to move. We just spoke about being outdoors, if that's all that she could manage at that time. But actually what she did do was she woke up, she put her clothes next to her alarm clock in the morning, because that gives you that visual kind of reminder of what you want to achieve. Put her clothes on to go out for a walk, went downstairs, got herself a coffee, sat and had a nice chill coffee, went outside just for a quick walk outside in the morning. So she's kind of getting herself going. Now, that then kind of set everything else, in motion, because we had this really lovely fixed wake up time, right? So that's all we started with initially, just fixing in that wake up time. And then what I asked her to do was just kind of recognize or see what time she was starting to feel tired, right, in the evening. So rather than saying, I am definitely going to go to bed at 10 o'clock, we kind of wound back from that. And I asked her just to notice. So when do you start feeling sleepy? Just start to notice when this is occurring for you. Because, shock horror, when we go to bed when we feel sleepy, it's often more successful, right? So we can often fall asleep if we feel tired when we go to bed. So she did that. And this was her kind of time that she was feeling tired was a little bit variable, but it was ranging from kind of 11 to 11:30, 11:45-ish, right? So between that 45-minute window, which is normal because sleep pressure doesn't build exactly the same way every single day, right? So there will be a bit of a variation in the time in which you fall asleep. You don't need to be absolutely, 100% stuck on the time. So we knew now, right, this is what works for you, right? This is where your body's at. So now you've fixed in this morning. She did this at the weekend as well, by the way. So fixed in the morning, her body has started to recognize, oh, okay, this is what time we get up, which gives it some real structure, really helps the circadian rhythm. And then this then created this kind of window of when would be a good time for her to be going to bed rather than having this fixed time. So then what we started to look at is, okay, so what time are you finishing work in the evening? What are you doing in the evening, work-wise, and how long is that taking? So we spoke a little bit about that, and what we decided was, or what she decided, actually, it's not for me to decide, what she decided was that she absolutely could stop working by 9:30. Okay, so that was the starting point for her. 9:30, that's fine. That's, everybody has their own choices to make when it comes to these things. There's no right or wrong answer. So 9:30 was the time that she said, yeah, I can absolutely do that and not take any calls and not book any meetings or anything after that. So great. That's what we had. So then we spoke about what kind of things help her to relax and unwind. And by the way, this is always the most difficult question that I ever ask anybody. How do you relax? Though I don't think in the history of doing this has anyone ever gone, well, what I do is blah, 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 right? It's always really difficult. So we sometimes have to dig in a little bit, what kind of things give you a little bit of joy? What kind of things did give you joy? Maybe 10 years ago, what kind of things did you like doing? So actually, she really liked sitting and watching a bit of TV, a bit of light TV. Great. Okay. So at 9:30, sit down, watch a bit of kind of light TV in the lounge. And then also, how about if we just switch from kind of overhead lighting and we create some dimness, right? So we create a little bit of dark. And what this does is it helps the body then to recognize that bedtime's approaching, which will really help all of the physiological elements of getting prepared to go to sleep. So we did that. We created this kind of dimmer environment. She was absolutely starting to feel tired, 10:45-ish. She went upstairs at this point and she went into the bathroom. Now, what was happening before was she'd go into the bathroom, it'd be really light. She'd quickly take her makeup off and brush her teeth and then, get into bed. So we spoke about actually, can we make this more of a really nice time of the day? So how can we make this feel like a bit more pampering, a bit more relaxing? So we went for lower lighting in the bathroom. So she actually lit a candle. She took her time and did her skincare routine, listening to some like nice music in the background, brushing her teeth, felt really nice and clean and fresh, and then went and got into bed. Now, she didn't like reading at all, but actually with everything else that we put in place, she didn't feel like she needed to do anything when she went into bed. She was able to get into bed, close her eyes and fall asleep fairly quickly. Now, the night wake-ups actually started to reduce on their own. And we spoke a little bit about the nighttime wake-ups. And actually, all we did at this point with this lady was kind of change the narrative of them. So where before the nighttime wake-up was like, oh no, I'm awake, I can't get back to sleep, I'm going to feel tired tomorrow, and thinking about all those things that sleep deprivation causes, we spoke about actually, how about if you don't check the time, right? First of all, because does it help if you know what time it is? And she was like, not really, no. So we stopped. She stopped checking the time, firstly, which really helped to reduce, the anxiety around being awake. And then we also spoke about, okay, so how about if you just tell yourself, okay, so I'm not asleep, but I'm still here and I'm still relaxing, right? So I'm still resting. And that was enough for this lady. So she still was waking up in the night, but falling back to sleep fairly quickly, which is not an issue. And she felt a lot better as well during the day. So her sleep started to become more consistent. Did she have days when it wasn't so great? Absolutely. Like when she was really, really stressed, that had an impact on her sleep. But we spoke about how that is normal, like for anybody, any person, including myself, right? Sometimes things really get on top of you and your sleep is impacted. What do you do at those times? So if you do your routine, you go to bed and you actually don't feel tired and you're laying in bed and it's not working for you, get back up again, do something again, go back downstairs, wait until you feel sleepy, go to bed when you feel sleepy. Because you don't want to undo everything by laying in bed for ages and ages and ages, trying to go to sleep, right, when it's just not happening. So getting out of bed, doing something completely different, and then waiting for your body to tell you, right, I'm tired again now, let's go to bed. Going to bed and falling asleep easily really helps to promote like a positive relationship with being in bed and sleeping. So this was this lady. I hope you've got something from that. I hope someone somewhere can relate to this. And I will be coming every Friday and sharing different stories. There's likely to be crossovers, right? Because some people I suggest similar things to do, but everybody's story is unique. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you have a really great Friday. Please do subscribe to hear stories that are coming. I like to make sleep feel easy, right? So simplifying sleep so that everybody can sleep and sleep well. Thank you.